We are opening the realm to alternate dimensions and potential trades. Because when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings, there are so many ideas that you can propose that make sense in some ways and that don't make sense in others. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the captain of the team, Dylan Larkin. And we're also talking about the captain of another Red Eastern Conference team, in Nico Hischier. And a trade idea which would swap either of these guys for each other. Would this make sense? Take a look at what JFresh went out there and tweeted earlier this afternoon. Dylan Larkin, 5 years by $8.7 million to the Devils. Nico Hischier, sign and trade, 8 years by $11.5 million to the Red Wings. Somebody adds, both teams shake up their leadership groups and core after repeated disappointments. The Wings get 2.5 years younger. The Devils save $3 million in cap space. Now, hypothetical schmypotheticals. This technically isn't really something that I think either fan base would be super happy with, but there's a reason it's got 120,000 views and 600 likes. It's a pretty intriguing thought, and I wanted to dive into it here. So Dylan Larkin, of course, 29 years old, 6'1", 205, left-handed center. His contract goes on till 2030, so he does have a few more seasons after this one. He scored 67 points in 73 games played this season. He is on pace for 2 more points in the remaining 2 games of the year. It's kind of funny to me, honestly. Like, Larkin was a near point per game guy. Multiple times throughout the course of his career, he was over a point per game 2 seasons ago, but this season and last season, he has dipped a little bit in overall point production. You have other guys in the Red Wings that are over a point per game, or that are continuously putting themselves in that conversation. Alex DeBrincat has been really good. Lucas Raymond, for as much as people will dog on him post-Olympics, he is a point-per-game player this season. But Dylan Larkin is a guy that, as the captain of this Red Wings team, there have been some conversations as to the leadership qualities that he provides. Obviously, we understand that Larkin is the good old classic story of an NHL player who got to play for his hometown team after developing in the backyard of his hometown team for years. He was with the NTDP, he was with the Michigan Wolverines, he was with the Grand Rapids Griffins, and then he was with the Detroit Red Wings. So it's a very normal and white-collared pathway for a guy to become an NHL athlete. But under Larkin's leadership, the Red Wings haven't accomplished anything. And year after year, there is this disappointment that seems to always occur in March. There is a collapse that pulls the team out of the postseason race. This season, it hurts more than others because they were one of the best teams in the league by the end of January, and Dylan Larkin's leadership is put into question because of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's strictly due to Larkin's leadership. That's why the Red Wings ended up missing the playoffs. You could talk about a lot of other things. Mention the lack of significant trades, lack of maybe big pushes from management. They got Justin Falk, but are you going to be able to make the playoffs with this roster and just Justin Falk getting added onto it? There's a big cluster of guys who didn't really produce all too much, nor who bring any sort of X factor, and I think that certainly has a role in how far the Red Wings went or didn't go this season. So Dylan Larkin, you could question the leadership. Nico Hischier on the other side, he has a New Jersey Devils team that also has been going through it the past few years. They haven't been able to make the playoffs. They've been disappointing throughout different courses of the season. Nico Hischier also has some of the same qualities that you're seeing out of Larkin, where he was a point-per-game guy once upon a time, but the past few seasons, he has been dipping a little bit. This year, he's got 63 points in 80 games played. So not really the best compared to some of the prior seasons that he had. 69 points in 75 games last year, 67 points in 71 games the year before that. So he went from point per game almost exactly to just slowly dipping to sub point per game territory over the years. And now this season, he is fully below that threshold. Nico Hischier is the captain of a team that also cannot stay healthy. You're talking about the superstar Jack Hughes, who can't seem to find himself getting 82 games in a season ever. He's always got some sort of a freak injury going on, either on behalf of somebody else or through his own doing with glass at a restaurant. It isn't a great situation for New Jersey, and you can say that there are questions as to where the team goes. They already fired their GM. Timo Meier is not the top-tier superstar that he was supposed to be, and that Swiss connection with Nico Hischier, it's not really doing much. So JFresh proposing a one-for-one hockey trade between both of these parties for both of these guys. I'd honestly say that just based off of the evidence, based off of the profile, the expectations, and where these guys are in their careers, you can say that it is a pretty even-Steven deal, even though both Devils fans and Red Wings fans would be ticked off with this kind of a move. I mean, obviously, right? These teams and their fans, they would not want to see a one-for-one captain swap. We don't usually see captain trades go down anymore either. I mean, what was the last one that happened? Was it Martin St. Louis for Ryan Callahan and a bunch of stuff? Let's go out there and read some of these comments on the JFresh post, because this is where it gets interesting. This is a hockey trade and an organized one. Almost every center ranking out there had these guys basically back-to-back entering the year. Both of them and the teams they captain had disappointing seasons. Grindline Podcast goes out there and replies, or the Wings just get Nico and keep Larkin. I mean, would Stevie Y be interested in doing that? We had already talked about the idea of him making a panic trade for Pettersson. What about a panic trade for Nico? Big Green Pine says it doesn't do enough for Detroit. It gets them a pretty much equivalent 1C who is closer to the age of their core. Still no one behind him at 2C, though. That's the real issue. You can still address that separately. And yes, I do think that the center problem is the biggest issue, but going from Larkin to Hischier is technically an upgrade when you look at the term as well as the overall age as which these players are. Dylan Larkin has 5 years left. If you can get Nico Hischier to sign an 8-year deal and then trade him after, you could get this guy on till the end of 2035, essentially. That's a long term. And you think about the age, Larkin was drafted 2014, Hischier's 2017, he's a lot closer to the Mo Seider, who was 2019, Raymond, who was 2020, Edvinsson, etc., etc. The core is a bit younger than Dylan Larkin is at the moment. How about New Jersey trades for Danielson, a first, Carter Bear for Hischier? New Jersey is not accepting that deal. Dylan Larkin would exercise his no-move clause there. Yzerman threatens to murder him if he doesn't waive, knowing that he'll get away with it. Yeah, honestly, I think that Yzerman could get away with pretty much anything he wanted if he were to say something like that. Demidov Enthusiast says, why would the Devils do that if they're trying to be competitive? Because Larkin is a very good hockey player. Larkin is a mid-hockey player. What's Hischier then? A very good hockey player. If Larkin had 63 points in 80 games this season, you'd be calling him an AHLer. That's the amount of points that Nico Hischier has scored this season, FYI. Why is points always what defines a player? Hischier is great in the faceoff dot, a real leader, and is one of the best two-way players in the game, and he can play PK and power play. Well, I mean, Larkin does that too. Funny enough, another reply says that Nico is not on the same level as Larkin. 1-for-1 isn't enough. So at the end of the day, the fact that we could argue about this and the fact that both players have arguments going for them essentially means that this is an even trade, right? This is what we always say. If either team are pissed off or either team loves it, it's an even trade. That's essentially how it usually goes down, isn't it? So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of a Larkin or a Hischier trade? One of these guys getting swapped. How do you feel about these guys getting swapped for each other? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.